Hi, I'm Kristen Hubert from Upcycle My Stuff. I wanted to just make a short video on the back of a blog post I wrote recently about imposter syndrome. It's a kind of a buzz phrase. You may or may not have heard of it, but it's basically, it happens a lot to entrepreneurs and creative folk, so possibly folk like you and me. I've definitely suffered from it. Basically, it's about when you start having those thoughts in your head, like, I don't know what I'm doing. If people only could see inside my head, they'd know what a fraud I am. I shouldn't be running my own business or my own blog or selling my products online. I'm not good enough. Those people who make a success at that, they're different than me. I don't have what they have. And it can be quite debilitating. So some people have those thoughts every once in a while. That's pretty normal. But some people can get just stuck in a rut where they feel like that not all the time or quite frequently. And that can the problem with that is not just obviously that it affects your mood, which is important, but it's also that it's going to get in the way of you doing what you want to do. So if your dream is to open an Etsy shop, run a small business, spend your time making things and making your money out of that, and just trying to live your best life, having thoughts like, I'm not good enough to live that life, that's going to get in the way. So, and I've certainly been hearing that this is an issue that a lot of my readers are suffering from. So they email me about this kind of thing. And I really just want to help as much as I can. So I feel like I have developed a few techniques to pull myself out of this when I feel it. And they have helped as well for others that I've worked with. So I'm going to run through some top tips for sort of getting yourself out of imposter syndrome. So tip number one is, first of all, it's not about getting out of it. It's about saying, actually, you need to recognize what you're feeling and sit with it for a minute. So it's not going to help you to ignore what you're feeling, because it's not going to go away. It'll just go further into the recesses of your brain and kind of permeate everything you do. So it'll probably still stop you taking action and doing what you need to do to be successful, even if you're not thinking the thoughts in the front of your mind. I hope that makes sense. So basically you want to stop, go, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? Where could this be coming from? What triggered it? Did I see somebody else's success? Did somebody say something to me in the past? What is this? And just kind of name it. You don't have to come up with all the answers. You just have to go, okay, I'm feeling fearful, usually is what it is, because imposter syndrome is it's just a fear of being found out, a fear of not being good enough. You're just afraid. So just recognize that. It's okay to be afraid. If you weren't afraid, that probably means you're not doing anything risky enough to get you the reward you want in the long term. If you want to be anywhere in life, you need to take risks. So that's scary, and it's natural that would be scary. So first of all, sit with that, name it, and feel it. The second thing is, although we do want to recognize our feelings and make sure we know what they are, we don't want to sort of sit around repeating them to ourselves over and over again, because that's where this becomes that kind of internal negative self-talk. It's like this mantra, and the more you repeat it to yourself, the more it becomes true for you. So you kind of don't want to let that take hold too much. But at the same time, you don't want to deny it. So one thing that works for some people is to set a timer. So I've got this little timer, and you kind of turn it and it'll start timing 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. So you can set something like that and go, okay, I'm going to feel absolute crap, let myself feel crap, and talk absolute crap to myself for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. And then I'm going to park it and move it to the side and put it in a little box in my head and move on. That works for some people. That one doesn't work for me. I think my husband could do that one, because he can kind of take the issue and sort of put it away for a while until he needs to look at it again. So it depends on your personality type, whether just sort of setting a limit is going to work for you. But there's plenty of other ways if that's not for you. One that does work for me is to make something. So I'm sitting in my craft room. If I'm feeling really down, if I've sort of made a mistake at work, or I've done something that made me feel, oh, what am I doing? I'm so stupid. I'm not good enough. I'm never going to be a success, or whatever. It often will pull me out of that if I just start to make something. So obviously I upcycle a lot of things. I like to sew scrap fabric, old jeans, sometimes paint furniture, just anything. I basically like to start with something that wasn't much of anything before. So something that somebody else might throw away, and then transform it into something else. And just the act of doing that, it kind of triggers something in me, where I feel like, okay, I can affect change. I can make something happen. I can turn something that was nothing before into something now. So that was, a pile of old jeans before, and now it's a quilt or a bag or whatever. And that really helps me. And if you are watching this because you're also a crafter or an upcycler, then chances are probably going to help you too. It just gives you that sense of control over your life and over the world, and just sort of reasserting the fact that actually you have control of your life and you can make things happen. So not just in terms of making crafts, but in terms of taking action towards what you want for your small business and your life. Another tip to help you move on from imposter syndrome and kind of shift the negative self-talk to a little bit more positive self-talk and kind of be your own cheerleader, is to sit down and write down all your successes on a list. So this could be anything. So it could be something work related. It could be, if your dream is to sell your crafts and you've sold one or two, write down those one or two. You've sold a few. So if you've sold one, you can sell more. It could be, a compliment someone gave you about something you made. It could be something that you've learned that you found hard, that you were able to go on and get better at. Just things that show you that you can get past things that are difficult, things that are tough, things that are scary, and to make you feel like you have what it takes to move forward. So this can be difficult if you're in that negative space, but just keep writing and writing and writing until you have like a whole page worth of these success sort of stories that you're going to tell yourself. They don't have to be long. They can just be a sentence or two. And if you're having trouble figuring out what to write, think about, what if a friend of yours was saying to you that they didn't feel good enough? What would you say to them? What would you tell them about your life, or their life, sorry, to point out that what they're thinking isn't true? So just think about what you would tell a friend if they were asking you the same question. So be as supportive to yourself and as honest in that positive way as you would to a friend or family member. Another tip that works for some people and not for others is to sort of write down little motivational notes to yourself. So, you'll have seen these kind of quotes all over Instagram and Pinterest and wherever else. Things like, you got this, or I am enough, whatever resonates with you. Okay. There's going to be different things that are going to appeal to different people. And if it helps you to see that on your bathroom mirror or near your workspace or by your computer, every day, then go ahead and do that. It definitely does, lift the mood and just give that little bit of positive reinforcement for a lot of people. This next tip is not just about imposter syndrome, but it helps with that, but it's just generally about moving forward and getting where you want to go. And if you've followed me, if you're on my email list, you'll have heard this before, but I say it a lot. Basically, get up every day and do one thing. Okay? You're going to probably have this huge to-do list of stuff that you need to do to make your business a success, your dreams a success, get better at whatever it is you're trying to learn and to change about your life. But you need to just make it simple. So instead of beating yourself up that you didn't do the 10 things on the list, pick the one thing on that list that is going to move you further forward. So it might be the more difficult one. It might be the one that's going to shift something. So for an example that I give in my course is, if you were, for example, you've got products that you want to sell and you're feeling a bit nervous about contacting a local shop owner in your area because you want them to stock your products. So just make the phone call or just drop the email to them. That's the one thing. because that's the one that's going to make the difference. That's the one that was kind of a mental block in your head, but it only takes 2 minutes to do. And once it's done, you're going to feel so much better, and you will have taken that step forward. Not only will the next phone call be easier, but you might actually be successful, and then you're going to have your products in that shop, and think what a change that would be. And then the other 9 things on the list, I'm not saying don't do them, but just pat yourself on the back for having done the one thing that's going to move you a bit forward. And then you can leave those 9 things for another day. So obviously, if you can do more than one thing a day, brilliant, you're ahead of the game, but just keep doing the one thing. And if you're having an off day where making the phone call or sending the scary email is too much, do one other thing. Do something easy. Just don't do nothing. So if that's making a product, starting to make a product, if that's setting up a spreadsheet for your accounting, it can be anything. Just one thing every day to move you forward, and you will get there sooner than you think. And the last message that I want to leave you with on the topic of imposter syndrome is to make it really clear that, at least in my opinion and a lot of people's, that success is not about how talented you are, who you know, how artistic you are, how trendy you are, how much you have your finger on the pulse of what other people want to buy. The difference between the people who have a successful craft business, small business, and the people who don't are that they take action. So they don't just dream about it. They don't just think about it. They take those steps every day to get where they're going. So whether that's one thing or 10 things, they're moving. And they might be doing a few things that scare them, but that doesn't mean they're doing scary things every day. They're just continually moving forward and doing something every day. That's all you need to do. It's that simple. If you just keep going, keep putting one foot in front of the other, you're going to get there. There will be plenty of other folk who dream about starting businesses, dream about spending their life being creative and making what they love. And at the first hurdle, the first block, they will stop. They won't take the next step. They won't pick themselves back up again. That's the difference between those people that you see on the internet or Etsy or wherever else that you want to be like. The only difference is that between them and you is that when something got in their way, they kept going. And you can make the same choice as them. So you just keep going. You keep putting one foot in front of the other and taking one more step towards your business. It might be slower than you think it should be, but as long as you're moving, you're going to get there. So I just wanted to say that to you. And also, if there's nobody else saying it to you today, I believe you can do this. Just keep moving. Just do it. And I hope to hear all about your small business. Either send me an email or plot something in the comments. Subscribe if you want to hear more about this. And hopefully I'll speak to you soon.